Okay, I know so many of you have been waiting for this moment. You filled many tables for us. Thank you very much. So stand up now for your legendary soccer coach and Granite City favorite, Gene Baker.
Well, that was pretty impressive. Do you want to thank them all by name?
We're going to start that minute. Yes, yes. I know them all.
So, after all this time, here you are, and there's so much to talk about here with what a long career and the twists and turns, but I guess the first thing I have to ask you is, seeing that when you leave CBC High School to go to Rockhurst University in Kansas City, you go there to play basketball.
And baseball, yeah.
Yeah, but then after at some point in time, you transfer to St. Louis U to play soccer. How did that transition happen?
I grew up playing, and in our St. Louis, St. Engelbert, Catholic parishes, and when things were really rolling at St. Louis U, close friends called and said, you need to come down and we'd like you to be on the team with us. And I played for Coach Gelker, and it was very rewarding, just very memorable times.
And then 1965, that was the year, of course, that the Billikens won the national championship.
Right.
What are your memories of that?
We were undefeated and untied, and it was a great group of guys. I was with Pat McBride Tuesday, had lunch with him, and we were recalling that the great camaraderie that we had on that team. You need that, and it was just what a great experience.
So you leave school, you leave college, and then before the great run at Granite City begins, you help start the soccer program at Riverview Gardens. What was the challenge in that, and what led to that happening?
Well, being there, I wanted to be as active as I could, so I started the program. One of the Riverview players is here at our table tonight, Dave Lee. Dave, would you stand up? Dave was a fine player at Riverview. His brother was a great player for us. He then went on to Rockhurst there, plays for my close friend Tony Tocco.
So in the early 70s, Granite City had won the state title in 1972, but then they decided to split into North and South. Right. And you were approached by another Granite City soccer legend, Ruben Mendoza, to take over as South's.
His son Danny's here. Danny, stand up, will you please? So Ruben has a great reputation, had a great reputation as a wonderful soccer player, to say the least, but Danny's also in the Boxing Hall of Fame in St. Louis, so we've got quite a contingent.
So did it take any convincing to take that job?
Sir?
Did it take any convincing to take that job at South?
Oh, no. It was a wonderful opportunity. It's such a great fit. I mean, just like what you see here, why did we win? We had really good players. In addition to that, we had great families. And you can see, just like tonight, Tony Segoviano, Keith Galing are so much responsible for bringing the people out tonight. And that's, if you give them longer, there'd be more here. They're great. I can't say enough about Granite City and how good it's been to me athletically, career-wise.
I mentioned the 27 years, and certainly all the people from Granite City know all these numbers, but 27 years, and that's coaching the boys and the girls teams, 514 wins. In the boys team, 9 state championships, including at one point 4 in a row. And in those 9 state championships, the other team only scored a total of 5 goals. Now I know you're a humble guy, and you just said that it takes great players, but certainly a certain amount of coaching had to help that along.
Well, you have to have the tools, and I certainly have them. I also, Howard, would like to introduce, my son came all the way in from Boston. Gene, will you stand up? He's the best soccer player in the family, and his daughter is playing in Mount Olive, North Carolina right now. Also, my daughter Bridget and son-in-law Mike. Also Marilyn Anderson and Keith and Sue Galing. Keith's one of the best players in the history of the program. He's a storied player. Wonderful people. Stand up, please.
Just to add to some of those numbers during all those years, 13 high school All-Americas, 44 All-State players, and then after 27 years, you move on from Granite City to Blackburn College, where you also coach both the men and the women, and you become the winningest coach in the history of both Division III soccer programs. What made you go to Blackburn, and what did you enjoy most about coaching at the college level, maybe as opposed to high school?
Really good AD there named Joe Ramsey, who his background had been at SIU Carbondale, great basketball player. He was way back during the Frazier days, quite a man, and I went there because of that. Also, while we're on it, I've got some players here from Blackburn who I'm very proud of. Would they stand up, please? They're in the back there somewhere. There they are. Highland, they represent Highland and Edwardsville and Belleville West. Also, there's some young ladies in the program who played, and I can't thank enough for being here. Would you, young ladies, please stand up? Beth, etc. There's Tanya. We should have their heart.
Now, you described your approach as being very eclectic. Can you explain that?
Well, I think you learn from anybody. If you go to see a good game, I don't believe you ever criticize any other sport, that you say my sport is the best and nobody else is any good. I can learn from any sport. I can learn from any coach. And you put things together and it all works out from doing so. I was an English teacher, and I had to learn along the way to be better at it, and it really helped me as a teacher to relate to some great human beings. The people who are here tonight, I can't thank them enough, and it's always been that way. They have paid me back in spades from the beginning.
What are your connections still, if any, with the great game of soccer?
With the game of soccer?
Today, yeah. Any connections still?
Oh yes. Well, if I can, as my health improves, I want to go see my granddaughter play. I think she's a terrific player. Couldn't go this year. I'd like to do some of that. I like to go to the games at St. Louis U, follow it, but I still follow as much as I can of soccer, and then, I certainly will follow with Tritchu being there. I can't say enough about what kind of guy Steve Tritchu is, and he'll be good. He's by the way, one of the admonitions of Coach Gelker was, before a game he would say, make the game better, elevate the game. And what he meant by that was make it better for the people who follow you in it, as to how you play, as to how you conduct yourself. And certainly that's going on in that program with Steve going there. I think it'll be a big plus, and I wish him well.
Well, I think it's quite obvious that what you did at the highest level was make the game better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Gene Baker to the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
One more. Thank you. One real quick closing. I didn't know what I was going to be saying here this evening, so with this gentleman's help, I was able to get through it. But it reminded me right away, way back when in the Granite City program, the Granite City Steel Mill people asked me to go to Charlie's Restaurant, which some of you would remember was a wonderful restaurant, and I was to give a motivational speech, and went there and prepared for it and was really enthused about it. So I had told my mother, Mom, I've got this speech that I really want to do a good job on. So she said, well, good luck and blah, blah, blah. So I went that evening and gave this little motivational speech, and it took about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe, kind of like what we're doing here tonight. And I didn't want to drag it on for all of you, so I thought I'd tell you this quick little ditty, which my mother was worried about. How did it go afterwards? Well, I said I didn't get home really till about midnight, maybe after that. The gentleman at Charlie's restaurant said, well, you have to stay after the dinner and maybe have a few beers and talk things over and whatever. And that was very nice. But I said when I was giving my motivational speech, the people liked it so much that I started at 5 in the evening and I finished at about 9:30 that night. And my mother, who was just typically Irish Catholic, saying, just perfectly said, oh shit. That's it.
Gene Baker, the next mayor of Granite City.